Hi Kennedy artists, sorry I couldn't be here today. Today you will be creating a Zentangle. I have one here that's not quite finished, you can see. A Zentangle is a simple shape called a frame that has different sections inside of it that are filled with patterns, but usually a little more elaborate or fancy patterns. It's been really trendy the last couple of years. People are using it as a way to relax in their free time. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is look at a Zentangle worksheet, and you'll see at the bottom it says follow the steps below to create the Zentangle patterns you see in the boxes. Some of these patterns look really scary and complex, but they're actually shapes and lines that you already know how to draw. I'm going to start with one of the ones that looks kind of particularly fancy. What I notice here is there are lines going up and down and lines going across, 2 of each. It creates a grid of 9 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Inside each of these boxes, there's a cross shape. I'm talking about this right here. And then there's a diamond that's been filled in right in the middle where that cross intersects. Then the last addition is these lines at the corners that kind of follow the slant of the diamond. So how this ends up being the more complex pattern you can see is when I draw the lines for this and for this one, it's going to make the diamond that was not filled in right here. So all shapes and lines you can draw, it's just a matter of putting them together to make the more complex pattern. This one down here, I'm going to start by looking at this triangle, longer line, and then the lines keep getting shorter to make a triangle. When I look at the triangle that's next to it, it starts going this direction. So again, not a particularly difficult shape to draw, you just need to pay attention to where things connect and what you're using. Over here we have a circle filled in with a little dot in the middle, teardrop shape. It's got kind of a double layer on the outside, it's shaded in, and then a line down the middle, and then that pattern repeats. I want you to take about 5 minutes right now and try to copy at least some of each of these patterns into the boxes. When you finish copying the 6 Zentangle patterns, when you flip your sheet over, it says use your imagination, create 10 of your very own Zentangles patterns. You can look at the idea sheets for inspiration. You should have a separate worksheet. It's 2-sided with all different circles of Zentangles. Again, a lot of these look really complex, but they start out with simple shapes and ideas, and then it's just a matter of putting them together to make the more complex pattern. I'm actually going to combine 2 of them, the circles here and this idea. So I'm starting with the concentric circles, which are circles that keep getting larger and larger. And then I'm going to put these smaller circles inside. So when they're in the smallest space, they're going to be a little bit smaller, and as they go out, they're going to get larger. I still need to add the inside to each of these. And the only shape I needed to know how to draw for this entire Zentangle was a circle. If I wanted to get even more fancy with this Zentangle, I could shade in parts of the circle, add stripes. That would be up to me. So using your idea sheet as inspiration and these open spaces, I want you to try at least 5 of your own Zentangle patterns at this time. At this point, the substitute teacher is going to offer you a variety of frame options. The frame is the shape that you're going to be putting your Zentangles inside. If you would really rather not use one of the pre-drawn frames, you can also use a 9x12 sheet of paper and draw your own. Just make sure it's large and fills most of the page. I chose this eye or football shaped frame today. The next step is to draw our strings. I'm going to show you my fish example again because the strings in this one are drawn in red. I'm trying to divide the total shape probably into about 10 spaces. And on this one, because I wanted it to look like a fish, I purposely made strings that divided this into a jaw and an eye, and then I thought about scale shapes. If I still want this to resemble an eye or a football, I can think about doing that, but the strings just have to connect to each other. So I am going to start with a string here. I'm making this red just so you can see them, even after I start adding my Zentangles. Yours should be in pencil. I'm going to make the iris of the eye. But now I need to divide this background area. I'm going to have a string going there. You'll notice it connects all the way from here to the top edge. It can't just end in the middle. So over here, I'm going to divide the eye with some strings. And strings is just the name used by people that make Zentangles for these lines that divide your total shape. I'm also going to add a shiny spot here, so I have one more. Now you're going to take all those ideas you had, the ones you practiced on your worksheet, the ones on the idea sheet, and each one of these spaces is going to get a different Zentangle pattern. Now there are some choices in here. Your Zentangle could be black and white, or it could be colored. If you decide to go with colored, it could be one color per string section, or it could be multicolored within each individual section. Those are some decisions you're going to have to make as an artist. So I would like you to take maybe 2 minutes to add your strings, and then you're going to see me here in time-lapse working on adding some of the Zentangle patterns within my string shapes. If you would finish the Zentangle patterns inside of your frame early, you could go to the outside and add, like here, if this is going to look like an eye, I could add eyelash frames to the outside and add another Zentangle pattern out here. Obviously, an eyelash usually I would draw as one line, but I need a shape here, so I'm leaving it more of a big triangle shape, so I'll have somewhere to put a Zentangle pattern inside. I'm really excited to see what creative ideas you come up with, and I'll see you soon.